여러분 안녕하십니까? 2023 제17회 세계 해양 세션을 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 저는 사회를 맡은 정혜리입니다. 반갑습니다. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now let us start the Fisheries session of World Ocean Forum 2023 under the theme Blue Food and Food Tech Innovation. For simultaneous interpretation, please use your receiver, tune it into channel number 2 for English. 네, 탄소 중립 시대.
So in this era of carbon neutrality, there is a growing attention on sustainable diet, which also shed a light on blue food. As you know, the blue food collectively refer to all the seafoods that are all the foods that are based on seafoods like the shell and also the fish, and it can minimize the environmental impact and known to be a very sustainable food. So with these blue food, various food technologies are also under development, and I believe that this will also contribute to the growth of the marine industries in Korea and also help us establishing a sustainable ecosystem for marine industry. So we would like to invite the moderator to the stage for the session. Ma Chang-mo, Deputy President of the Fisheries Policy Research Department of the Korean Maritime Institute, will serve us as a moderator. Good morning. I am Deputy President of the Fisheries Policy Research Department of Korea Maritime Institute. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable time to be with us despite your busy schedule. I would like to thank all the speakers, panelists, as well as the participants on-site and online. World Ocean Forum 2023 began from 24th of October and was opened up with the keynote lecture by Dr. Jeremy Lifkin. Those who have missed this opportunity, I would like to sincerely ask you to listen to his presentation later because I believe that the message was really resonating and very impressive. That we can achieve sustainability through the marine environment. So this session is about blue food, food tech innovation. Recently, there was a data that if you don't consume seafood for a long time, then it is as harmful as smoking. So American Clinical Diet Society announced this result. And also Harvard and Stanford team, they established the 45 different kinds of the nutrients and made the comparative analysis, and they found that the seafood has a much higher value nutrition than other types of the protein foods, and also it has less environmental impact and environmental footprint. So this indicates that the seafood does have a multifarious values in this era of climate change and global warming. And also by utilizing the innovative food technologies, we can develop diverse kinds of the foods and therefore promoting the growth of food industry. Today we have a professor from Ewha University, and if you look at the findings of domestic researchers, seafood is also beneficial for reducing and preventing cardiovascular diseases for females. So compared to those who don't consume seafood, those who consume seafood do have the 27% better efficacy for CV disease prevention, and also it's effective to fight against the frailty and also the aging for the elderly patients. One of the most common diseases we see nowadays so with the prevalence rate of the 1 million is the neurology disorder, and neurology disorder can also be effectively prevented by consuming blue food, according to the findings of recent researchers. So this actually shed a new light on the value of seafood and blue food. And in this session, I believe that we can have valuable insight on the value of seafood and blue food and how we can develop more diverse kinds of the sea resources as food for people. So we have 3 presentations under this topic. And the first presentation will be about the market value-driven fisheries food and alternative food development. And this will be presented by Professor Hye-Seong. She is a vice editor of a renowned food journal and also served as a various positions in the food academic societies. So with that, we'd like to invite her to the stage.
네, 안녕하세요.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hye-Seong of Ewha Women's University. Today, I'd like to talk about market value-driven seafood and alternative food development based on sensory and consumer science. And I'm currently heading food design and ergonomics lab. And I'm also working on taste and microbiome project. And I'm leading the government policy project. And today, my presentation will cover the areas of my research as well. Dr. Ma highlighted the nutritional value and functional value of seafood. And today, I'd like to highlight the importance of thinking outside the box. Blue food is also a type of food, and the value of food is found in the demand and consumption of consumers, and its value is granted by the consumers who actually consume the food. In order to understand the value of the market, we first need to understand the encounter between food and the consumers. We have to understand the innate and inherent value of food and attributes of the food, and we have to design food in order to respond to the demand of the market, the consumers. That is why I believe we should be based on science in designing food. And this requires to take a longer-term perspective to create a platform for basic research. Today, I'd like to share with you the case of Nofima. I would like to introduce their organogram in order to show you the fishery product research embracing sensory and consumer science. And I also want to stress the need for understanding the sensory organs of human beings and the need for basic research and sensory science for tailored and customized food research. Everyone knows what food is, but the characteristics of food are not determined by food itself, but defined by consumers who take and consume the food. Food is food only when it is consumed by consumers. Blue food is also a type of food, and as you can see, blue food is linked almost directly to the sustainability. And this is perceived as one of a very important values. That is why social acceptability or social acceptance is quite important. And people these days, because of the sustainability issue, they are accepting quite actively blue food. And blue food also offers functionalities for health, since it contains various components and ingredients and nutrients. But in order for such a material to be consumed as food, the price should be affordable and it should be easy to buy. More than anything else, it should be tasty. So generally, people do not like blue food because they have not experienced it. some people would perceive the scent of blue food as a fresh scent of the sea, but some people would think, well, that gives off a bad odor, and some people believe that it tastes bitter, and some consumers might not like the texture. These values would greatly differ depending on the type of food. And each individual consumer, since they have different sensors and different senses and different types, different structure of the organs, might react differently to the same food. So I would like to emphasize that in order for the successful development and distribution of fisheries products and marine products, we need to understand the customer value. That's the way for us to grow the market and the industry. In terms of the innovation of food tech, many people have fully understood the need for high value-added products. And now I believe it is important for us to optimize the sensory food properties in line with the understanding of the type, concept, and quality elements of food customers like. We have to understand the unique preferences of each individual consumer so that we can optimize the sensory properties of food. So nutritional level and functionalities of seafood, blue food, have been highlighted and embraced broadly. And the importance of microbiome, not just xenotype, we fully understand. But the level of understanding when it comes to sensory organs is very limited. Eating behavior, what determines consumption and which will lead to the determination of our health. That is why this is critically important for us to understand the eating behavior of human beings in line with our understanding of sensory organisms. Sensory organs, only then we can succeed in innovation of blue food. At NOFEMA, over 300 expert researchers run over 600 basic research projects contributing to the development of the fisheries industry. There are 3 different divisions and 14 departments under the 3 divisions. They are working collaboratively and organically with one another, and each department has its own project out of the 600 basic research projects. For example, consumer food selection behavior, the sensory quality, and market research and design innovation. There is a dedicated market research division and the sensory research division, and they ran over 15% of the entire project run by NOFEMA. Although they are different in size, there are 4 key pillars in their research. To connect food system and the fishery products. What I'd like to focus here on is the research on the consumers and the food products. You'd think that sensory center is all about tasting, of course, but the sensory booth would test the taste, but that's only the beginning. They also collect the opinions and feedback of the consumers. They do not stop there, and they look into the sensory organs and the physiological connection between the food and the sensory organs, since there are advanced sensory testing equipment in the lab. For example, amino acid, if you handle it improperly, can create a bitter taste. For example, and the various lipid acid, if that is combined with amino acid, bitter taste can be generated. Then to such a bitter taste, the reaction from the body is that the first step, each and everyone has a different level of expression of genomic genes in the level of taste receptor. And at each cell level, they have a different level of activity. And the third step would be the organs like your mouth and your intestines. And the level of expression or the level of the taste detection would be determined by the level of microbiome activity. And through recognition process, you recognize that this tastes bitter. So based on this different level of sensitivity, how can we understand the different constituents of people? And this should serve as the information for us to develop a tailored and customized food product for each consumers. So far, such tailored and customized product has looked into genomic aspect, and through the adaptation into the environment, the genomic aspect has also evolved as well. And as we develop the industry with the sustainability agenda in mind, we should also understand how differently people consume food, perceive food, and understand food. And such understanding will be quite critical in innovating the food tech industry. This is what I meant by the basic research. That is why the Ministry of Oceans and the Fisheries are working on converging in food science with the consumer science. And this will also cover the marketing aspect of the industry, encompassing the entire process of a food product development. We talk quite a lot about sustainability these days. Developing products which will not be consumed in the market is a waste of money and time, and this will even undermine sustainability. So I believe that the development and use of fisheries products can be sustainable only when the consumer choices are guaranteed. So rather than from the perspective of a producer of seafoods, we should put ourselves in the shoes of consumers or general human beings, taking into consideration what functions we have and what kind of understanding we have and what kind of preferences we have. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Lee, for your insightful presentation. We say we have to consume seafood because it's good for your health. And if we say that we have to consume seafood because that works better for the world. But I think we have to think outside the box. We have to put ourselves in the shoes of the consumers, and we should be able to appeal to the palate of each consumer. Thank you.